What's up, and welcome to this edition of Viking Vibes, the St. Joseph by the Sea High School experience. Today we're joined by Coach Sandy, who is the Varsity Soccer Coach over at St. Joe's for the boys program. And we're also joined by Coach Tara, who is the Varsity Coach on the girls' side of the field. We're happy to have you guys here, as this is a first-of-its-kind podcast and web series that St. Joe's has created. And it's basically a way to give both current families and students, as well as prospective students and families, an inside look into all things St. Joseph by the Sea. So we're going to ask you for behind-the-scenes access to what's going on. And today, obviously, we're going to focus on the sports program. We had Rich Bruno on, we've had Tyler Young on, and one of the things that came up is that C, for some reason, doesn't get a good rap when it comes to sports, even though we have championship teams, which we're going to talk about, right? So everybody always thinks C, they think academics. They don't realize that it's a collegiate campus that has championship teams in almost every division and every sport that we have. And I'm going to ask both of you to expand upon that. But before we go any further, I want to ask each of you a little bit about your background and how you guys got involved with St. Joe's. Coach Tara, talk to us. Where are you from? What got you involved with St. Joe's?
I'm actually a C alumni. I graduated in 2000. I played for the soccer team. I played Wagner College, played for the NYPD soccer team, and then I found myself coaching.
Nice. What brought you back?
I always honestly wanted to coach at C. When I was a kid playing, my coaches had such an impact on my life that I wanted to expand that when I got older.
Nice, giving back. And
Yeah.
and talk a little bit about how the facilities changed, because I'm an alum too, so I know what it was like.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the facilities from when you played versus now when you're coaching.
Oh, we had grass fields, geese.
And what comes
a
with
lot
the
of
geese, right?
Yeah. No dogs to get rid of the geese. We would just clean up the fields ourselves, and no lights or anything. Daytime games, we'd have to play down at Miller Field sometimes because there wasn't enough space at the school. Now they have with the secondary field that they have for us. Completely changed. The turf makes a huge difference. The locker room for the girls. Oh, we were going to the pizza place on Miller Field to change. We would get changed there and then go to our soccer games, have some Zeppeli, and then go there. But it's a completely different atmosphere. And
Always renovating, always updating,
Yeah.
always engineering an environment of success for the kids. That's what Father Riley does and what he believes in. So, Sandy, tell us a little bit about your involvement. Now, you're like a C legend, so don't be modest here. Anyone who knows St. Joe's, they know you and Salah Dragna.
I actually
synonymous.
It's so funny because I'm not an alumnus. Right, I didn't go to C.
Well, now, we may have to edit that out. No, I'm just kidding.
It's 100 years ago too, man. So, but I didn't go to C. And actually, how I got involved was in the early 2000s. Field turf was just becoming a thing, and I was working for them. I was doing consulting work for them in the city, and I approached the school, and I met Bob Allegre, God rest him, and Monsignor Ansaldi, God rest him, and then Father Riley, who I'm so happy to say has become a very close friend of mine. We did the fields. That's how I started. And then Bob and the coach at the time, Bill Hunt, who's a very good friend of mine, asked me to get involved. I've been involved in soccer all my life.
No, I was going to say, I'm going to stop you. So outside the world of C, talk about your involvement in soccer briefly, because I know we could talk about soccer for a long time, but from all the different travel leagues, the affiliations with Major League Soccer, give us some of the highlights.
Yeah, I grew up in soccer. My father's a U.S. Soccer Hall of Famer, and he's still very involved at 82 years old, but I played, obviously, growing up, mostly clubs in Brooklyn, semi-pro. Played in college, played in the leagues till I was too fat to do it. And
it happens to us all.
It happened.
I used to play football.
In my late 30s, early 40s, I was like, it's getting a little wild to recuperate now. Yeah, and then I worked in World Cup in '94 at Giant Stadium. I ran operations, and then I worked in Major League Soccer, and I still do a lot with them. And I started coaching. I was very young. And I'm actually, right now, I have a player at C who I coached his father.
Wow.
And he's not the first one.
It doesn't mean you're old. It means you're a good coach.
No, well, I've been there I've been coaching a long time. I started coaching at C, and I fell in love with the guys. The place itself is spectacular and such a well-run school. My son, my oldest, decided to go there, and now I'm on my fourth child at C.
There you go. So truly bleeding blue, which is a good thing.
It's become I think people get sick of hearing me.
So we have a little bit of knowledge about your background for those people who are watching and listening. And now let's go into each of the programs separately, and then we'll have a joint conversation to pull it all together. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on the girls' side. I know we have an outstanding program, but people aren't going to believe me. So let's talk about the last couple of years, where the team has come from, and where you think they're going.
Honestly, ever since like I played for the team, they've either made it to the city championships, they've won a few state championships. This year alone, our JV's undefeated. They're playing
Undefeated.
Undefeated.
Let's say it one more time.
Undefeated. Kelly Cantilano's coaching that team, and she's doing a phenomenal job with them.
Shout out to Kelly.
They're playing in the playoffs tomorrow, the first round, and the varsity is 9-1-2, and we have the semifinals tonight.
So even right now, we're in the midst of a championship.
Yeah. And we had a very young team. I do take freshmen on varsity, and we built them up. And this year, they've met all the expectations that we've had for them. And it's been like that for years. We set high goals for everybody that comes on the team.
As it should be.
Yeah, exactly. And we mentioned even academically, I have a couple kids that are like top in their classes.
Right, 'cause that's one of the things, right? Creating
Yeah.
a well-rounded student,
Yeah.
spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically,
Yeah.
athletically, everything.
Yeah, the ladies of charity, they're always doing something. So they, between school and academics, they're constantly busy.
So we got a championship run on this side of the table. We're gonna pivot to this side. Let's talk about the boys' end of the soccer. Let's see.
Right now we took first place in regular season.
Congratulations.
So, only one loss. We won last night, our quarterfinal at home.
That's within the last 24 hours.
8-2.
Wow.
Kids did
8-2.
Yeah,
That's-
Salesian. It was.
It's almost like a basketball score. You don't really hear that in soccer.
It was crazy.
Usually it's
Yeah, it was a
1-1,
crazy
2-2,
game.
right?
Yeah,
Eight.
yeah.
It was a crazy.
You start
game.
hitting double digits.
It's good. These kids are. This year's group is very good, and we're very young. We have 5 seniors on the team, and I have a lot of younger kids, which is great. Our JV this year, we played in the AA. We were put into, because there's really no league for us.
Got it.
We were put into the AA. We weren't allowed to be in the standings this year. Next
So
year
describe
we'll
that.
be
What does
there.
that mean?
You
A
know
layman
what?
like myself.
Yeah, it was weird because it's like everything else, right? You have to play let's make a deal. And we went to the league and said, look, I have these great young kids. We're recruiting like crazy, and
Yeah.
all these kids are choosing C over everywhere else.
Right.
And we have them here, and we literally were setting up games for them to play. And it creates issues, and
Right.
it's almost unmanageable after a while. The league said, look, we'll put you in. You'll play everybody
Okay.
the first year. We're not going to let you in playoffs, and we're not going to keep you in standings. I said, okay, we'll prove ourselves, no problem. If we were allowed to be in the standings, we would have been in third place.
Wow.
We lost, I think, 2 games. Guy Gioli is the head coach and does a great job. And, yeah, the kids are terrific, and now they'll move up.
Right.
Now we have another group coming in. It's all about recruiting. I'm out all the time.
We just had the open house recently, and I was at
Yeah.
both of them. And I don't know, I saw you, and I see all the kids that were going over the table to register. And on your end, did you see a lot of kids who were coming over and interested in soccer?
Oh, yeah. They come in herds. The travel teams come in with their
Right.
kids, and they've been there before. We have the summer camp for them. And
Forgot about the summer camps.
yeah,
Those
we
are big,
try and
big
get
programs.
them. Yeah, I do a lot of recruiting from there, and we get from the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and I start looking at them there. One of the biggest sells is the field. We don't have to go anywhere after school. You don't have to go take a bus somewhere. You just go outside and you get to play.
Perfect segue. It's almost like you knew what I was going to say. I love it because I was going to now. This is like the general question now. So talk a little bit about the facilities at sea and how that is helping truly develop a well-rounded student.
Like I said, I think it's perfect that you go right outside to practice. You can have a 3:00 practice for Sandy goes later at night. We have the capability of using the field all day. And having the trainers there is perfect as well. We've seen a lot of stuff as coaches, but we're not trained in that kind of stuff. And for them to help stretch them, give them exercises that can help any injuries or prevent injuries is something that older people like us.
So talk about that. So having access to things like sports science management, having access
yeah.
to a physical therapy room, right? We have a physical therapy room on site at the school.
No,
What does that mean for the kids?
It's insane.
Yeah.
For years as a travel coach, and as an instructor, I would always yell at our coaches saying, you can't train 5 days a week.
Right.
And they go, yeah, the pros do it. Yeah, but the pros are treated the next morning.
Right.
Okay, the pros are coming in with a recovery plan. There's something there. We have that here. Okay, we played last night. 3:00 today, all my guys will go to sports science lab and meet Steve, who's the head trainer there. He'll bring them outside and he'll do 20 minutes of recovery.
Right.
No one has that.
Right.
It's not even a thought anywhere else. These are professional people who do it.
Right.
Keeping them healthy, avoiding injuries, addressing injuries early. Trainer Sean is awesome with
Right.
this. The idea that everything is right there. If they need physical therapy, Go see Dr. Piazza. It's right down.
Right.
It's right down the street. You want to go outside? We have relationships. So it's not a problem. Whatever you need to do. And as far as the facilities go, a great example. Last night it was cold. Right? It's the first night where everybody was like,
Yeah, I turned the air off last night. It was
my
actually got
God.
cold.
Yeah, exactly.
My wife
You
was
know,
like,
the
"Yeah, turn the
wind-
heat on." I was like, "All right."
And look, we're right on the water, right?
Right.
The wind comes through Nicolosi Drive.
That's
Forget
it.
it. You know, it's like it's all over. You know, the visiting team wasn't there yet, but I said to the guys, like, we're out here at 5. The game's at 6. Let's go. And we went and we sat we're sitting next to a fire. We go inside. We sat in the
Inside
lounge
the Viking Student Center,
in
hanging
the
out.
student center. We had a quick meeting. The
Right.
kids are all sitting there, no problem, nice and warm. And then, okay, guys, you know what? Let's go. Let's go
go.
outside, right into our warm-ups, done. Again, something most schools, I don't know any other school that has that. We have college coaches come in and watch the boys. They come in, some of them, and they're like saying, "You want me to recruit this kid? He's got better facilities here than we have." And it really is something that I try and explain to the boys. When we go to other places, it was funny, last week we played a team in New Rochelle. And we're walking out, and they didn't realize I was behind them.
Right.
So I
So
was
now you're
walking to
hearing the
bus.
banter.
So I hear the kids, and I hear the coach, and the coach said, "Oh, so and so said that they have bus legs. Let's get on them right away."
Right.
We beat them like 5-0. They're tired. Look at that bus. Yeah, my guys are on a coach bus. They're getting on a bus. Yeah. Do we like sitting in 2 hours of traffic? No. But if you're going to do it,
Right.
that's the way to do it. These other schools, these kids are shoved into these small little school buses.
Right.
I try and explain to the boys, just understand that, how lucky you are. And on top of everything else, your tuition is lower than their tuition. Understand that you're being treated. I came out of pro soccer. You're being treated like a professional soccer
Right, you
player.
know.
You're getting stuff that most kids don't get. And for the most part, the kids understand that.
Yeah.
They realize, look, we go outside. When I recruit, I tell them all the time, I say, look, I'm selfish. Like Tara will tell you, I don't like to share.
Okay.
I want the field.
You heard it here first on Viking Vibes. Wow.
I want the field. So we train.
Never thought he'd say that.
We train.
He admitted it.
I tell people that all the time.
Gonna record that and send it to his wife.
We train at 6. At 6 o'clock, everybody's pretty much inside
Right.
at that point. We turn the lights on, and we have the whole place to ourselves. That flexibility, Tara comes early, then the football in between.
Right.
The fact that, okay, she'll have a game tonight. The rest of us, football and us, we'll go over to the baseball and softball fields, and we'll train there.
Right. So the facilities can accommodate all the teams that are there. It's
Whatever
not
you
something
wanna
like you
do
had
is-
mentioned,
yeah,
where you're
everyone else
busing
has-
off to different
Yeah.
places, renting random fields. I always say, even at the open houses and stuff that takes place and in the marketing that we do over there, that the only thing C doesn't have is a swimming pool and an ice skating rink.
Yeah,
and
and
if you give Father enough time,
We
or
did
find
used to tell the freshmen it was on the roof.
I
Oh,
tell
yeah, it
Father-
probably would work.
I tell Father all the time, at some point they're going to reinforce that roof.
because eventually there might be something. Now, I'm going to ask a question, and I may be wrong, but the brand new sports facility, the indoor sports facility that's being built on the side of the building, it has turf. It has. Now, is that something that all the sports are going to have access to in inclement weather? Is that its purpose?
From what I understand, we're going to have access to it. It's going to be baseball first, I believe. And
Okay.
but they're going to have drop-down nets for the
Right.
batting cages, be able to pull them away. I think we're going to have access all year round. We haven't really been told, but
Because it's still a foundation, right?
Yeah.
In fairness, the
Yeah.
foundation's being poured, and I see it every day when I go in there.
I'll have access because I'll get a key.
You'll just have
early,
access
you know,
anyway.
a
I'm talking about
great kid.
legitimate access. If we're gonna
No,
have,
so-
but from what I
No,
understand, it's
I
going to be a
believe-
place for
yeah,
all the
It's gonna-
teams to utilize in case something bad going on outside, or the weather's no good, or
Yeah.
even for
Off-season training, I think.
So it's
that
another
was the thought.
something else that's added, another added value that was just built. Literally, the Staten Island Advance wrote an article about all the upgrades, and that was one of the upgrades. And from what I understand, it's going to be completed before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, no, it's nuts.
It's wild
Yeah.
because
You know,
the foundation was wet 2 weeks ago. They were able to get it done and do
Well,
it.
he's one thing with Father. The other thing I tell him is just the truth. Every year there's something.
Always something going on.
Every year there's some sort of construction going on at the school. And it's not always just about, obviously, it's not always just about sports. It's everywhere. It's the whole place.
All right, the air conditioned facilities.
When
and
I went,
the
I won't
classrooms.
say where I graduated. When I first went with my son to look at schools, this is 2006, I guess, 5, and I graduated in '84. The school I went to that I loved, that I still hang out with all
Right.
my friends from, hadn't changed.
Right.
Literally walking through with another buddy of mine who graduated with and his son, thinking this is great. My kid will go here.
Right. Until you realize,
Took one look at C, and I'm sitting there going, I don't even have that much of a relationship with seeing it changed. In the 2 years that I have been doing work here, the place has just blown up. So father does the right thing by the kids, and he mimics college.
The idea is to give them an environment that will allow them to succeed.
Yeah.
So now you have all these kids, right? Great group of kids. And I want to give you an opportunity, both sides, to talk about any great moments or great athletes that have come through the doors. But I want to also ask you this before we get to that. You're recruiting them early, right? We're talking about how we're recruiting them. They're coming to see. They're well-rounded. They're doing the academic side of the field. They're doing the sports side of the field. So now, when they're at the point where it's time to maybe junior, senior year, talk about how you guys are helping these student athletes get to the next level if that's something that they're looking to do in college.
I actually had a couple kids this year say, Coach coming to see me from college. What do? I said, just play the game that you've been playing your whole life.
Right.
Just go out there, relax. It's just another person watching you play. We do have a lot of coaches contact us asking about specific players. We've sent a lot of kids to D1 schools.
But that's important to know. So
Yeah.
we've sent a lot of kids to D1 schools because
Yeah.
there's a big myth out there. Now Sandy knows, I don't know, but there's a big myth that high schools are giving out athletic scholarships. That's not true. So if you're hearing it, it's a lie because it's not legally, it's not allowed.
No.
But on the flip side of the coin, scholarship money to college is real and it's attainable, and it's only through really using the coaches as a conduit to achieve that these young student athletes are able to get that. Is there anything that happens above and beyond, at least on the girls' side, that you can point to? You said D1 schools, but has anyone recently gotten some big money or gotten some big accolades?
Off the top of my head, I know Juliana Ryan is playing at UMass.
There you go. Great. Beautiful.
They were in the playoffs. They did really well this year. I think they came in 4th. They asked for letters of recommendation. I just write the truth for them.
Right.
And they basically speak for themselves. Like we said, we've had a lot of good kids come throughout this program for as many years as I've known about it. So I'll contact whatever college coaches they need. I've talked to many of them. A lot of kids like to stay on Staten Island.
Yeah.
I have the background with Wagner. One of my assistants is at CSI. We have another one at Quinnipiac. So we try and get them acclimated to the best school that they want to go to.
And not every young lady wants to pursue.
No, some of them like to
do
play
and-
club ball because college is hard. It's like Sandy said, it's 5 days
Right.
a week.
Right.
3 a days, 2 a days. But some of them just want to keep the love of the sport going, and they just want to play club ball, and
There's
they'll
nothing
keep
wrong
doing
with that.
Yeah, no, it's great.
That's why it's good that they got a solid academic foundation, right? Because
Yeah.
they're able to just take that off the field and then they could just go right into the
Exactly,
classroom and do what
exactly.
they got to do. So on the boys' side of the field,
On the
how
boys'
are we
side, it always
building
comes,
them and
It always
promoting them?
comes down to a coach speaking to a coach, right? So the network that you have and
Right.
the relationships around the country. I've been around long enough that if I don't know someone in an area around
That's
the
not possible.
country, if they don't know me or I don't know them, I know someone around
He clarified
there.
that too.
I know someone around.
If they don't know who I am, then I'll
I
reach
know,
out.
rather, I know somebody around.
I say the
there.
same thing too.
Yeah,
If you don't know me, it's your fault.
Here's the discrimination when it comes to high school. Those high school coaches, it's not as serious because it's such a short season. I'll send a resume with my email,
Right.
or I'll make a phone call and say, hey, so-and-so told me to call you. So now it's somebody that they trust.
Right.
And once you start that conversation, at that point, I'm going to step off.
Right.
They come and watch. Now it's all video. It's so much
Right.
film. Everything's online. Now it's really between them and the player and his family. The thing with I'm always around for the kids. Even after they graduate, I
Right.
still talk to kids who are playing college, who have already gone through.
Right.
They need some help. We say we're a family. That means it doesn't end
Oh yeah,
at
absolutely.
18.
Right.
When you helped him, we had one kid who's he's played for 2 D1 schools now.
Wow.
The last few years, he left. He played for one. Coaching changed, didn't like it. Jumped
Hopped
to another.
over.
He's up at Sacred Heart now. And then we've had Raul Naranjos, who played 2 years at LIU for a huge program, and then went to Europe for 2
Wow.
years. And now he's back. When he played there last year for CSI, D2.
We got to see if we can get him on the show. I need his details.
He comes down all the time, Raul. Raul comes
All right,
to
we
the
gotta
field
get him
all
on.
the time. Yeah, he's
That'll be
terrific.
great.
He's a terrific kid. He helps me recruit. He lived
So
in
when I'm
Brooklyn
texting you and
traveled.
bothering, just remember.
No problem. I'll put you with Raul.
So now you got all these kids doing great things. You have great facilities. We're helping them get into colleges. You guys are doing great work. Talk about what these kids are doing off the field, non-academically, right? You mentioned Ladies of Charity. I know I've seen your guys out in Tottenville doing cleanups. So talk about their community involvement and how they're doing things on and off the field.
Like I said, like the Ladies of Charity, I know a couple of my girls were doing something with a homeless shelter and helping out there. They do the food drives.
Right, food drive.
Yeah, all the different community stuff that they have within the school, somebody's always got a meeting here or there.
Right.
I always see on Facebook and stuff with Sandy's boys, they're giving out clothes, giving out food, like especially during the holidays. People don't have stuff. They're always giving back to the community,
Right.
and I'm a high advocate with that. I just push them to do as
Yeah,
much
because
as
it's
they
important,
can.
right? Yeah, do as much as you can. If time allows it, and right, you're done with
Yeah,
practice.
and I like
most
them to do it as a
importantly.
team, so that, like you said, we are a family. We
Yeah.
do everything together.
So what are some of the projects you get involved with, Sandy?
I drive them nuts. I want them involved in a lot of things, and I want them off season to do things together. So
Catholic
we do
charities.
food drives at ShopRite.
But you do Catholic charities. Last year, Thanksgiving.
Always Catholic charities. I bring that every year through Our Lady Help Christians, and we bring them to
Down to
Port
Anderson,
Richmond,
yeah.
down to Anderson. And they set up food, they transport it, they serve it. I mean, it's on Thanksgiving Day, and I get a really good turnout.
Yeah.
We do, and they're involved in the school, obviously. Like Father McCarthy's at all our games, right? So half of them are acolytes.
Right.
They do different programs within the school. But yeah, we get involved in a lot of stuff. We've done food drives over the years a few times, and I try and do it when. Yeah, we do stuff during the holidays. The food pantries run dry in February when
yeah.
no one's
You're
really
right.
paying attention. We do things like that, and we've done cleanups down at Tottenville Beach. We've done cleanups down at the end of Seguin. I always forget the name, Lemon Creek. I think we've done a lot of things along there. We've worked with Borelli's office before him with Nizio, whatever we can do with those guys. And I try and keep them together as much as possible. Through the year, we're not allowed to train after a certain time.
They can't train. You're still a team.
Yeah, and to keep them just involved and always keep them. I'll tell you what, so many of them, it's so funny because they'll come, Coach, listen, I heard you're recruiting this kid.
Right.
Yeah, they're like, you going to go see him? Yeah, Friday night I'm going where I travel all over the place. I watch these 8th grade games. And you want to, I'll come with you. Okay, meet me there. They do. And they come in and they try and promote the school as well when they talk to the kids. So it's a nice, tight-knit group, and we're trying to keep them.
You always want
that
to keep
way.
them engaged. That makes sense.
Keep them around.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. I alluded to it before. Do we have any, and it doesn't have to be this year, do you have any stories of note or recognition or things that stand out in either of your minds about a particular game, a particular student, a particular instance where you were like, wow, this is why I'm coaching, or I can't believe that we were able to achieve this, or any of those, like a highlight from anything?
In all honesty, I think it would actually be my coaching staff. They're all girls that I've coached.
Okay.
And everybody that we have summer camp and stuff, and everybody that I have that comes back is an alumni. And just as a coach, like that's what was done for me as a kid, and that's all I wanted to do for these kids.
Well, it's to be
is
said that they come back.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause they could just
you have
easily
kids that don't like you, and you
close
have
the door
kids
and never come back.
that you've made an impact on their life, and that's all I've ever wanted because that was done for me when I was younger. Me and Kelly actually butted heads when she was my athlete,
Okay.
and you never would have thought we're best of friends right now. Throughout the season, it's just I can go to her for anything. She can come to me, and if you think back 10 years ago,
You'll make it a run lapse.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I think that's probably one of the biggest highlights is to see what we do for the program, that they want to come back and continue helping
Yeah, and the
us.
camaraderie, the C
Yeah,
family, keeping
yeah.
the alumni strong.
Not to mention, like Sandy said, his team's in first. We're in first as well, and this
Well,
is
winning is
you
good.
know winning is great.
Let's
and
not
this
discount
is the
that.
year. No,
I know
no.
we live in a society
Yeah.
now that kind of like demonizes winning, but
Yeah.
winning is still good. Let's just be
Yeah,
clear.
it's always between the top 3 Staten Island teams, the Catholic schools. It's always good between the 3 of us.
Right.
Somebody's always up there, and I'm really hoping this is our year. We have years like this that we go to states, and the girls are putting every effort into it. So it starts from the kids and goes up to the coaches, just putting all the time and dedication in. So
That was perfect. See, and I didn't have to plan that. You had something great there.
I don't know. I made it.
What do we got on the boys' side?
You're gonna hate my answer.
No, I'm not.
My answer is as far as and it's so funny because I have 2 assistant coaches. I have a huge coaching staff. I have 2 assistant coaches who are older than me,
Okay.
who've been here forever, and they're great. And everybody, I sit and we talk and we strategize and we basically organize everything we have to do. And then I have younger guys, who, including my son Peter.
Right.
So I have one who graduated in 17, Kyle McDonald, Devin, his brother, who graduated in, I think, 19, and then Peter in 20. And they're 3 coaches now that we put full on staff. They've been graduate assistants, and now they come on. And then I have John Tardy, who's, I don't remember when he graduated, 06, something like that. And Leif Knutson, who's also helping out. He's from Silver Lake, helps us recruit, helps with the younger guys. Terrific coaches, all soccer guys. I'm trying to tell the younger guys the best thing about being a coach is watching your mediocre players and your best players and your terrible players get better.
Right.
Watch them, you're beating something into their heads, and they don't get it. They
It's
just
like
don't
molding
get
a
it.
piece of clay, right?
Yeah. But they'll make a really nice pass.
Right.
And I get excited. They'll do something. Last night, it's on the tape. I wanted to kill somebody this morning because they're killing me. But I yelled at one of my players.
Well, you're a coach. In fairness, coaches are
Yeah.
allowed to yell at players. I don't know.
Honor student, great kid, one of our captains. And he just kept doing something that was driving me nuts. And I said, this way. Right?
Yeah.
And 2 seconds later, he did it.
Right.
Dribbled past 4 guys, set up a player, and scored. And I looked at him, I went like this.
See how
And
easy that was?
he turned around and he went, that's the kind of stuff that I really enjoy. Of course, I want to win. I hate losing. I don't
Right.
let them see it as much as it is. Getting on that field and being competitive and learning that. And I tell them, I said, guys, it's about being part of a team. You're going to go
Right.
into the business world,
Right.
and you're going to learn that you're only as good as the guy next to you.
Right.
And yes, you have to be ambitious and you have to work, but at the end of the day, you have to also work within a framework. And it's something that I get more pleasure out of that than an individual win. Now, having said that, we play Tuesday.
Here we go.
I'm losing my mind.
I was waiting.
I'll be insane for the next.
Right.
Nobody can live with me the next few days.
Right.
My wife will want to kill me, and
Right.
that's just she knows this time of year. That's what it is. But we lost in the final last year in overtime,
Wow.
and the boys were. It was a very quiet bus ride.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But they're remembering it, and the preparation has been terrific. Last night, we hit on all cylinders last night, so hopefully we carry that next week. But it's my job to keep them down a little. It's like never too high, never too low. Let's see till we get to the last game.
It's like coach, psychologist, therapist, right? You guys
Oh,
play
no,
multiple
some
roles.
guys.
You guys play multiple
it's
roles.
It's funny you said that because the other night I had a meeting with them the other day, and I was talking about focus, and I said we're having this meeting, and I said, listen, we're going to do something I haven't done in years, because about 10 years ago, maybe a little more than that, we had a graduate he's in the Marines now.
Okay.
He's an officer, went to a maritime, and I loved him to death. Right, I'll say his name, Ryan Gardner, just a terrific kid and a great player. Ryan would make a mistake, or something wouldn't go his way, or he'd get mad at a ref.
Beat himself up.
And he was done for 10 minutes. When Coach Bill Hunt used to sit there going, you got to be a psychiatrist too. Like,
Yeah.
he says, I got to put this kid on a couch. We got to talk to him. So what we came up with was we said, you know what, Ryan, every 10 minutes I'm going to yell to you.
Okay.
And I'm just going to tell you the time.
There you go.
And I want you to refocus. So when you start losing it a little bit, I'm going to say 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is in the game. And it worked. So now this time around, I used it for a different purpose. And I said to the boys, I said, look, Coach Kyle's going to yell. We started last night. At one point, I turned around. I almost forgot what I said because I was like, what the hell are you yelling the time for? But it was 10 minutes in, and Kyle went, 10 minutes. And I said, okay, now we all refocus, get up shape. This is all tactics. Where do you need to be? How do you play? A youth coach's job is to get him ready for the next coach.
Right.
When he goes to college, he may not be a center midfielder. Okay, there'll be 50 of them there.
Right.
He's got to know how to do other things. We try and make them as well-rounded as possible, but that's the kind of stuff that it's a life lesson. It's like you're taking a test, and wake up. Right. You might be floating, and you go, "Oh my God!" It's like when you read a book and you go, "What was that last page?"
What just happened?
You have to go back and read again. So we try and teach them as much as we could with that.
So you said I wasn't going to like your answer because you thought it was going to be mundane and not exciting. But both of you actually had answers that I feel should have been the answer. You're both talking about how much you enjoy and respect your fellow coaches, right? And that's important because you guys are a team and a family. And then talking about how overjoyed you get when you see your athletes succeed. So if you're coaches and you don't have one or both of those sentiments in your heart, I think you're probably doing the wrong thing, right? You probably shouldn't be a coach.
Yeah.
You could be on the sidelines just as easy.
Yeah.
So that was a good answer. Yeah. If it was bad, I would have zinged you, but it was a good answer. So in closing, I just want to ask each of you a question, and it doesn't have to be a formal response, but if you have friends, family, anyone who might be watching or looking at this that is not a part of the C family, that doesn't even live in Staten Island, because don't forget, this is going to be circulated everywhere and distributed everywhere. Or if you have people that are watching and listening to this that have young kids that do live on Staten Island, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th graders, what's one thing that you can say to them that you feel as a coach differentiates St. Joe's from any other high school that's in the region or in our area?
Oh, obviously the campus is beautiful, but there's hundreds of kids that go to that school. And for me, there's 19 on varsity, 24 on JV, and those select kids have become a family that they never knew they would be part of.
Right.
And you get a whole new family at sea that, as our freshmen that come into school in the beginning, you got a edge over everybody else that you already got these friends, seniors, that can help you around the school, show you where your classroom is,
Right.
help you out with a class, tell you how a teacher is, all that kind of stuff that everywhere else you may not have that opportunity to do. I know other people have their preseason stuff, but at sea, you could go into the school, you can look around, it's like another home. It's like a college campus.
Yeah, because-
Exactly.
right.
So I just think you get a whole new family element out of being at St. Joseph by the Sea, honestly.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, listen,
Advice, wisdom.
Look, I've had 3 kids come through.
Right. So you're biased, but let's make
Yeah, I
believe
am.
you're not.
And now my third one, and all the players that I've coached, and from an athletic standpoint, I always say, look, I've helped kids all over the island, all over the place, as far as colleges go, make phone calls, kids from my clubs, whatever. I've never had a player from St. Joseph by the Sea who was not academically qualified to play soccer.
Right.
No one had to sit. No one had to take remedial math. There's a school on the island I couldn't believe how much money they were charging, and one of my players from travel that I helped get into a college, and I say helped because they get in themselves. I made those calls and I made the recommendations. At the end of the day, he had to sit his freshman year because academically he couldn't handle math. You just paid for 4 years of school.
Yeah, you're right.
And now you're going and you have to take remedial math for a year.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Harvard. It was a nice school, but it wasn't like it was some crazy
I gotcha.
school.
Listen, I'm not a math guy either.
No, but I'm just saying.
I resemble
trust
those
me,
remarks.
Trust me, neither
I was
am
an English guy. Math was not my thing.
No matter what level of student you are, my boys have done just enough for me not to kill them in the place.
But that's what they're supposed to do.
Yes, and my daughter was insane fighting with the teachers over a half a point on every little thing, even though she'll get.
You got both ends, right?
She's doing great now, and then they're all doing very well. But they all went to college. The 3 of them went to college, and they weren't surprised. There
Right.
was nothing there that they hadn't seen before. So what I tell parents all the time, I said, look, I'm not talking to you as a coach. I'll talk to you as a parent in the school. At the end of the day, the facilities are great. The faculty is terrific. The teachers will help you. The atmosphere, the environment is terrific. There's no, God forbid, and I've been involved in a few of these where I've gotten a phone call from Mr. Manos or something
Right.
where,
Every once in a while it happens.
no, there was a bullying incident that maybe one of my guys was involved with on either end, and he
Right.
calls me up and says, hey, I want you to, help us with this. No problem, whatever you need. It is a safe place for these kids to be. They're going to be successful, and they're going to be prepared
Right.
when they get out. I love hearing parents say, oh, it might be too tough. Well, what do you think you're going to see in college?
Right. College is not going to be easy.
Tough now.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so and then we'll.
Or at least put them in a routine to get them ready for what's going to come.
I tell people all the time, drive by at 5:30, 6 o'clock. Even kids who have nothing to do with sports,
Are they hanging out?
are there.
They're eating, they're hanging out.
They're eating. They're sitting in the lounge. They're sitting outside. They're having paninis and whatever
Right.
French fries and whatever
Right.
they eat out of Nucci's, and they're happy. Kids, nice hanging out until they go home. My son, my youngest, he's there at 7 o'clock in the morning, and doesn't leave until we leave at 8.
Right.
We're out of there at 8, and
There's something that's keeping them there.
reason to be there. So
Right.
at the end, and for the parents, at the end of the day, they're prepared for college.
Yeah.
I'll help you on the other end.
So I want to thank you both for being here with us. It's exciting. You guys are technically a part of history, right? Because this is something that St. Joe's is doing that no other high school is doing. So you're on the Viking Vibes podcast and web series. We're going to encourage everybody to follow and share. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or iHeartRadio, click subscribe. I'm Anthony Rapp. I want to thank you guys for being here with us. And until next time, we'll see you later.